So when we talk about ethics, what are we talking about? You as a professional, you have to abide by this. So if you say for you subscribe to maybe let's say the Catholic faith, there are some things that they expect you as a Catholic to abide by. So in the same sense, if you say you subscribe to project management, it is like a religion. You're also supposed to abide by the ethics, the code of conduct on how you're supposed to operate yourself. So one thing about ethics I'm going to talk about is truth. Always tell the truth no matter what the outcome would be. And this one will also come in your examination. They can ask you questions, but if it is a question to do with ethics, you as a project manager, you're always supposed to tell the truth. However hard it is to tell that truth. All right? If it means losing your job, you rather tell the truth and lose your job. So that is the principle around ethics. Another thing is the law. You are always supposed to follow the laws of the country that you're in. So let's say you are operating within Uganda here. You're running a project in Uganda. You should know the laws of Uganda and you should understand it and you must follow it regardless. All right? So always stay respectful of another country's cultures, another country's customs. That is the principle surrounding ethics. How about when it comes to gifts and donations? Gifts and donations should never be accepted unless it is a custom and a law in that country. Maybe you went to Saudi Arabia, and in that country, gifts and donations, accepting gifts and donations is a custom. If the question tells you it is a custom to accept gifts and donations, then maybe your correct answer would be to collect it. But if it is not, the principle is you should never accept these gifts and donations because this can compromise how you make decisions. This can compromise your integrity, how you make decisions. All right. Now imagine you're being charged with the mandate of evaluating a subcontractors to award maybe a tender, but then now you're receiving gifts from this subcontractor A. How sure are you that you're not going to be compromised when you're finally making your decision? So that is why as project managers, we should never receive these gifts or donations. And the other principles surrounding gifts and donations, you can always read about them from our PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct, one book that I shared with you. Then conflict of interest. If you have conflicts of interest for whatever reason, you should always report it to the higher management. Take a case in point, you were part of the evaluation committee, and it just happened that your wife has submitted a bid, all right? So the fact that she's your wife, somehow you're already conflicted. So it is important that you report this conflict and let the organization decide whether they are going to keep you on this evaluation committee or not. And if they choose to keep you, of course, you have to act with all integrity. All right. But there is no need to stop work simply because you hold maybe a conflict of interest. Then another thing I want to talk about is permission. If you feel you might need to get permission to do something, make sure you get that permission before doing it or don't do it. Okay? So make sure you don't use any copyrighted works, any confidential information without permission. Always seek information first. So now all of this brings us to PMI Code of Ethics and Professional Conduct. Make sure you read this. And the PMI Code of Ethics is majorly pillared on this, or rather based on these four pillars: responsibility, fairness, honesty, and respect. Have respect for the profession, for people. Fairness, doing what is fair. But doing what is fair doesn't mean you siding with someone. Sometimes hurting someone could actually be fair. Honesty, remaining transparent, and taking responsibility for the work that you've been assigned to complete. These are the values of PMI. So you have to uphold to these values.